There are very few Americans left that have not fallen for some type of scam. There are even fewer Americans left that don't know somebody that has fallen victim to some sort of scam. But of all the scams out there, I truly feel like a romance scam might be the absolute worst of all. Because imagine the shame that you feel after falling for a scam, but then add your heart being broken and what they believe was their future completely ripped out from under them. It's cruel, it's heartless, and it is straight up evil. A New York Times article from 2003 states that scammers defrauded over $139 million from adults aged 60 and over in romance scams. The year before that was $84 million. The main victim of these the main victim of these scams are typically those aged 60 and older because they are seen as people who have the most substantial savings. Some are forced to mortgage their homes, empty their retirement accounts, and borrow large quantities of money, believing that they will eventually get their money back and end up with the love of their life. But don't be fooled, because none of us are safe from these scams. On top of that, the majority of us believe that all these scammers are from other countries, like with India and Nigeria probably being the first one that come to most of our minds. But that is not always the case, because Peaches Sturgo is a 36-year-old woman from Florida who scammed an 87-year-old Holocaust survivor out of $2.8 million, leaving him with nothing. It was cold-hearted, savage, disgusting, and I am here to give you all the details of this very cautionary tale. Hi guys, welcome or welcome back. Thank you so much for being here. It is so greatly appreciated. It really, really is. Before we get started, let me give you my usual disclaimer. This video is for educational purposes only. Please do not take what I say as fact. Please always do your own research and come to your own conclusions. Next, if you have not liked, subscribed, or commented yet, please consider doing so because it really helps me out and I really, really appreciate it. Okay, so in May of 2017, Peaches Sturgo would meet an elderly man who survived the Holocaust, was living in Manhattan, New York, and had a very successful career in the jewelry business. At the time of their meeting, the victim was suffering from cognitive decline and other health issues. He was frail and he was looking for love. When he met Peaches, she told him that she was a nanny in Florida.
That was a lie.
In reality, the only job Peaches ever really had was defrauding people. She even refers to it as her business, while speaking to her actual boyfriend, a man by the name of John Paul Miller. She also fails to inform the victim that she is the mother to 2 children. Shortly after Peaches and the victim start talking, she gains his trust through her lies and manipulation before deciding to strike. She tells the victim that she received a monetary settlement for a personal injury lawsuit. The only problem, according to Peaches, is that her lawyer won't release the funds until after he's paid his $25,000 fee. Believing that he would be paid back and that he was in a real relationship and in love, the victim writes a check. Following this, Peaches tells the victim that the settlement money has been deposited into her account. It should probably not come as a shock to anyone, but there is no lawsuit money. There is no lawyer. In May of 2017, she tells the victim that according to her bank, she's not allowed to have access to the funds until a certain balance is reached in her account. Believing that he would be paid back, the victim writes another check. This sequence of events would take place from May of 2017 through October of 2021. The only thing that ever changed were the fake stories. One of her excuses being that if the bank didn't receive the money, the accounts would be frozen and he would never get paid back. Over the course of this 4.5 years, Peaches would receive a total of 62 checks, at least one check a month, usually for $50,000, and totaling, ready, over $2.8 million. Disgusting. If the victim questioned why the bank constantly needed large sums of money, she would create a fake email account, pose as a TD Bank employee, and send the victim emails. One that read in part, "Good morning, mister. I've been trying to wire over the funds. I see what the problem is. Her report shows her other account is still on hold. Once the account is no longer on hold, I can send the funds over. It shows she has a balance of $75,000 that needs to be paid, as there are other checks that came into this account, but I have been placing them on hold until I send out the wire. Once the $75,000 is paid, I can release the funds manually. Please advise what you would like to do." She also sent herself fake statements from TD Bank. The statements were meant to look like a TD Bank employee was contacting her to answer her questions about the account being frozen, saying in part, "Dear Peaches Sturgo, you are receiving the letter to alert you of your account status. Once $48,000 is placed into your account, I can release wire payments up to $420,000 in one business day." She also created fake invoices to make it seem as though she owned a company called P&S Jewelry Design. I'm guessing this was after she quit her nanny job. Whatever happened to picking one fake career and just keeping it? At this point, the real bank was questioning the real withdrawals from the real TD Bank. The victim would use these invoices to show the bank in hopes that he could continue to send her money so he can get his money back that he is owed. So I want you to stop and try to envision what this poor man must be feeling at this time. Okay? His life savings is almost gone. He can't afford his apartment, and he's forced to borrow money from friends and family. A series of email between Peaches and her boyfriend slash business partner gave clarity to just how evil this woman is and how she had absolutely no regard for anybody but herself. In August of 2020, she wrote to her boyfriend, "When I make $50,000, you don't say anything." In December of 2020, she wrote about how the victim was going to close up his shop because he needs money and doesn't have anything left to pawn. That same month, she would go to visit the victim in New York with her business partner boyfriend, offering to drive her there. In New York, Peaches would break into the victim's computer for confirmation that he was truly as broke as he says that he is, writing to her boyfriend that he still has $20,000 in his bank account and $20,000 in his brokerage account, and mocking the victim for telling her that he loved her. In March of 2021, while at the bank, Peach's boyfriend sends her a text message saying that there is a Jewish man in the bank that is wiring $81,000. Peaches asks her boyfriend how old the man is, hoping that he would be in his 60s to 80s. When Miller sends her a photo of the man, she responds that he's too young and may not be vulnerable enough for them. It would take until October of 2021 and absolute desperation for him to go to his son and tell his son everything that's been happening. His son told his father that he was being scammed, and the victim would finally stop writing checks to Peaches. While the victim was scrambling to pay his bills, though, Peaches was buying, are you ready? A home in a gated community. a boat, a Corvette, a Ram 1500 pickup, 6 Rolex watches, 6 of them, multiple gold coins, multiple gold bars, multiple silver bars, a gold belt, 2 Cartier watches, jewelry, and made purchases at stores that included Hermes, Louis Vuitton, Nordstrom, Disney, Target, Saks Fifth Avenue, Apple, Tory Burch, Tommy Bahama, Tiffany, and Yves Saint Laurent. She donated hundreds of thousands of dollars to 2 churches. But what would Jesus think of that? You're donating stolen money. I don't know that Jesus would really like that. I think that you need Jesus. I'm just saying. She had expensive spa excursions and took luxury trips to Europe and Vegas, staying in hotels such as the Ritz-Carlton. With the help of the victim's son, police were able to get recordings of the evidence that they needed to arrest Peaches. On April 14th, 2023, Peaches pled guilty to all charges. During sentencing, Peaches claimed that the victim preferred she get a shorter sentence. It was actually the victim's children that requested she get a shorter sentence because they believe that she would be able to pay the restitution back faster if her sentence was shortened. But the state then points out that her restitution is kept at 15%, meaning, say for argument's sake, if she made $50,000 a year, for example, the most that the victim would ever see would be $7,500 a year. So when you're talking about almost $3 million, you're never going to get there. During sentencing, both the victim and his son addressed the court by saying, Your Honor, I am writing to the court as a victim of the devastating actions of Peaches Sturgo, who, through a methodical and malicious scheme, stole $2.8 million from me, leaving me with nothing left to my name. As a Holocaust survivor, I have endured unspeakable pain and loss in my life, but never did I imagine that I would be subjected to such heartless betrayal in my old age. At the age of 6, I lost both my parents in the Holocaust. And it wasn't until I was 10 that I had the opportunity to sit at a school desk for the first time. I grew up in a boarding school, surrounded by the echoes of the horrors I had experienced. Determined to make a better life for myself, I moved to the United States in my early 20s. Over the next 60 years, I worked tirelessly to establish a successful business, family, and home in New York. I am now 88 years old, and the last thing I expected was to finish my days in the same manner that I started them, penniless and betrayed. Oh my God, this is horrible. What began as a naive loan to Mrs. Sturgo spiraled into unimaginable proportions. Her deception and manipulation forced me to close my business as I was coerced into emptying all of its assets. I had to leave my home, which I could no longer afford, and ultimately flee to the country once again to be close to my children abroad where they could support me in these difficult times. This ordeal has been a devastating blow to my life, and the trauma of losing everything I worked so hard for has been unbearable. However, I would like to take this opportunity to express my sincere gratitude to the FBI and District Attorney for their dedication in restoring justice. I trust that the court will do the same and take necessary actions to impose a fitting punishment on Ms. Sturgo, while also, and equally important to me, ensuring that my life savings are reimbursed. Your Honor, my life has been marked by unimaginable loss and hardship, but I have always found the strength to persevere. I hope that through the actions of the court, I will once again find a way to rebuild what's left of my life and find peace with my family. Thank you for your attention to my case. Sincerely. Oh my God. and do it with no remorse. Like, you just don't care. You don't give a shit. Like, oh my God, hasn't this poor man been through enough? Okay, this is the children. Dear Honorable Judge, we are the children of. We are writing this letter to you today in the hopes that you will consider the impact of the defendant's actions on our father and our families. Our father is a kind and gentle man who has always put others before himself. He survived the Holocaust as a child by escaping Poland at the age of 6 and hiding in a makeshift orphanage in Hungary. He came to America after the war with nothing, and over many years, he ultimately built a successful business. He has always been generous with his time and money, and he has helped countless people in need. He's always provided support to his children and grandchildren to one extent or another. Naturally, his past has also led him to being somewhat reclusive and not sharing his difficulties with others. The three of us moved to Israel following our parents' divorce to join our mother and extended family. Despite the distance, we've all stayed close to our father, seeing him at least a few times a year, if not more. We all live modest lives, and none of us are independently wealthy. However, each of us are married with children and understand nature's way of a parent needing to care for their family's well-being. Our father was also this way, but with his reclusive nature, he unfortunately opened up to us about the scam only after it was too late and only after he felt forced to borrow money to survive. The defendant took advantage of our father's kindness, generosity, and advanced age. This has had a devastating impact on him and our families. Our father's life savings was stolen, which would have secured him for the rest of his life, and to an extent, his children and grandchildren. Our father planned to retire, travel, and spend more time with his family. Rather, at the age of 87, he was forced to uproot his comfortable life in New York and relocate to a modest apartment closer to us in Israel. We, his family, lovingly provide logistical, financial, and emotional support on a daily basis. However, we cannot sufficiently underscore the difficulties around the precarious position he is in. He faces severe financial hardship and uncertainty while simultaneously struggling to cope with the emotional trauma of being scammed out of his life savings. We are concerned that defendant has shown no remorse for her actions. She has requested to keep the house she bought with our father's money. I didn't know that. Oh my God. And she has squandered most of the scammed proceeds on luxurious and frivolous items. We believe this unconscionable behavior has demonstrated a complete disregard for the severity of her unscrupulous actions and the disastrous impact that her crime has had on our father and our broader family. We respectfully request that the defendant be ordered to restitute our father with the full $2.8 million, as well as interest and punitive damages, should you determine it appropriate. Assuming these funds are not immediately available, we request our father receive ownership of her home and all remaining assets up to the restitution obligation, and that Miss Sturgill be encouraged to return to work as soon as possible, her wages being garnished by the maximum amount until full restitution, even if it means a shorter sentencing. There you go. Thank you for your time and consideration. Respectfully, the children. That is just disgusting. It is disgusting. It is. And the court sentenced Peaches to 51 months in prison. And I suppose all that we could hope for is that the victim is able to move on and live out the rest of his life as peacefully and as happy as possible. So I decided, instead of ending this video so early, that we would go over a few stories from Reddit. I have not read these stories yet. I have no idea what they say. I am reacting completely blind to them with you guys right now for the first time. So this one is, I was a victim of a romance scam, and there's a trigger warning in it. I don't know why. Let's go. As the title indicates, yes, that recently happened to me, female 29. Bear with me, this is a long story. It started last November. A Korean guy followed me on IG. Actually, it's not unusual for me because there have been Asians following me on IG. Some even started chatting me, but it didn't last long because I don't like their vibes. I checked out the account and he was a private account. I thought, why not? And I followed him back. The next day, he messaged me. We started talking and getting to know each other. He said he was 31, a civil engineer based in Seoul, but he has a project in Turkey. I checked his IG and I have to admit he was guapo, literally my type. Then, while we were talking, all the characteristics that I was seeing were all in my list. His story was he's an only child. His mom retired in the UK. His dad died when he was 12, and he and his mom migrated to Poland. Then, since 2023, he was living in Seoul for 4 years. He was using a number registered in Poland. Our conversations moved to WhatsApp since we both don't use IG and we use WhatsApp for work. It started as friendly until a month later, he started admitting his feelings for me. I'm not sure when I started to ask for a video call, but I know I asked for it. He then told me that he's going to see me instead. I didn't know this was a red flag, so I just let it slide. Then he started being all sweet. One day he said he bought something for me. He then sent me a video of a woman showing him a Cartier bangle. Of course, I was surprised because why the hell would you buy me something like that when we just started talking? Like, why? He then said that's what he's going to send to me and asked me for my shipping address. To be honest, I was quite nervous when I gave my shipping address, but at the time I thought it was okay since I have a friend who met her boyfriend online and they sent each other gifts. Later on, he said that he needed me to open his bank account to transact on his behalf. I feel like right at that point, you need to just block it. As soon as open a bank account, can you send me money? Can I borrow money? I have funds locked up and blah blah blah. You just need to cut your losses right then and there. Like don't I feel like don't even worry if you're wrong about it. Just cut your losses or say no. Just say no. Play poor. Always be poor. That's what I'm learning. That no matter what, you always pretend that you're piss broke. Because if you're piss broke and they still talk to you, that might mean that they probably really like you. Later on, he said he needed me to open his bank account to transact on his behalf. I opened it and I saw his whole name, registered address, which was a United States address, email address, and his $2 million balance. I asked my best friend about it since her family owns a construction business, and she said that it's normal since you're using that money to finish the construction. I asked him why he let me transact on his behalf. This would surely trigger some security measures with the bank. He said he's having trouble with the signal and all. Also, one reason why he can't constantly call nor make a video call with me, low signal in Turkey. I feel like people in Turkey do this all the time. Like I feel like if you've ever watched a episode of 90 Day Fiance, people video call all the time. Maybe it's just where he was. I received an email from the courier telling me that the package has arrived in the Philippines, but since it's a high valued item, I have to pay some customs fees. I told him about it and he said that he actually put some cash in the package for me to use. Paying the customs fees happened before getting the package. It was starting not to make sense, but I paid and acquired a Union Bank account from the courier. His bank account then got suspended. So what did he do? You guessed it right. He asked me for help. Unfortunately, I was swayed by his promises to pay me and gave in. Even the courier started pressuring me with other fees like clearance for the cash in the package and conversion fees. He was also giving me receipts, telling me that he paid for some of the fees, but for the whole affair, I've spent thousands on this. I ended this when he claimed he was already in my city, but he showed a different hotel. He showed me Mactan Shangri-La the night before. He said he was in Manila and sent a video of a car cruising along a bridge. He said he was going to a hotel called City Park Hotel near Naya 2. I checked the maps, and first, there are no bridges from Naya 2 to City Park Hotel in Taguig. Second, the bridge he showed me is Marcelo Fernan Bridge in Cebu. I know that bridge because I've passed that bridge a lot of times before when I was studying in Cebu. Bottom line is, he is in a completely different city, more than 600 kilometers from my city. I lashed out in the chat, told him that I'm done with this, that this will be the last time I'll fall for his schemes. I told him he's not in my city. He then said, "Why would I tell you that I'm here in your city if I'm not in your city then?" He knew from the get-go where I am from. I told him before and he acknowledged it. He even mentioned it when he claimed to be planning his travel to my city. He started calling me, but I didn't answer. I was so mad. I wanted to hit something. He then started to look for me, asking me where I was. I blocked him on WhatsApp. Then, hours later, a UK number started calling me. I didn't pick it up. I knew it was him or is connected to him. I eventually blocked the number after it called me 7 consecutive times. The courier is another story. I also traced the person based on the UB account number. I also know where in the Philippines she's based. I know all of you would blame me instead, telling me why didn't I cut it off the first moment he asked for money. I know, I already got a lot of that from my parents. At this point, I'm exhausted, I'm drained. I have all this anger in me that I don't know where I can channel it to. I have all these numbers, emails, and bank accounts, but I don't know what to do with them. I want to file a case, but I don't have the money to sustain the court proceedings and all. I know all of you would blame me instead, telling me why didn't I cut off the first moment he asked for money. I know, I already got a lot of that from my parents. At this point, I'm exhausted, I'm drained, I have all this anger in me, I don't know where I could channel it to. My wallet can recover fast, but my soul can't heal that easily. I wish it could. It just hurts because I feel like I was betrayed. No one else knew my standards but this guy. Putting it in quotes now because we don't even know if he really is the person in the photos that I have. From the looks to the personality and how he was so in love with me, it feels like all I wanted was used against me. No one else knows what I wanted, only God, not even my parents. They just found out my standards recently. I don't know what to do now. I'm angry, I'm exhausted, everything hurts. But hey, at least I'm not pregnant. Boy. And I didn't send any nudes to him. I'm also not that kind of person. At least I'm safe on that side. It still hurts though. I hate these stories. I really hate these stories. I do. Miss Tegan wrote, "I'm so sorry for your experience. Good thing you shared your story for awareness. I've been aware of a love scam's existence, and I believe I encountered so many on dating apps. What I noticed most was they're very interested on what you're doing for a living. They have a sob story about family like getting orphaned or adopted. They have numbers in messaging apps which is not aligned to their current location. They always have signal issues or internet issues. Their work is offshore or in the United Nations, which use of gadgets or video calls are not permitted. They portray that they are someone who has money or a high paying job or own a business. They have VIP or premium accounts in dating apps. They invest in this so they can easily see who liked their profile and can match with you fast. They usually are good looking, but use someone else's pictures." I feel so bad for this girl. This is horrible. You'll bounce back from this. You will. You will bounce back from this girl. "I'm a victim of an online romance scam and it ruined my life. I'm a 23-year-old male and I am sad and ashamed to say that I am a victim of an online romance scam. This is going to be a long read, so please bear with me. 2 years ago, I met some gal on WhatsApp, an anonymous app where literally anyone could be anyone. We exchanged photos, but of course, the photos she sent weren't of her. And then we started talking and chatting. At the time, I was absolutely desperate for love, and in the moment, I wasn't thinking about exactly what I was doing and how it could have impacted me and my life. After we met with plans to get together, she gave me an address for me to go and meet her. The goal was to hook up and find love. I did this totally without missing all the red flags. We later exchanged numbers, and she made me pay her money with Apple gift cards. Once again, totally dismissing the huge red flags, and I was sucked into going to the store and buying these gift cards for her. She used some cam model pictures to try and scam me, but in the moment, the desperate and stupid moment, my foolish self believed it was really her. She tricked me into thinking she was who she claimed and lured me into thinking that we would meet in person and get into a real relationship. For months, she literally forced me with threats to send her more and more money via gift cards and promised we would meet in person. She even got into my bank account and took everything out, including my savings, and somehow had a fake check cashed in my name. She said it was a gal who works with her and that she felt bad about it happening to me. Of course, I lost my bank accounts because of this. I was in debt because of it, but weirdly, I completely paid it off. I've spoken to her on the phone and she has an accent and it's hard to hear her. She used several different numbers throughout our time conversing. Dude. She said I was giving her this money for an inheritance that she was going to get me on. Oh my God. I was so desperate, lonely, and horny that I did this. Well, at least you're honest. The whole thing could have been prevented or even just cut off right from the start, but I was tricked into thinking it was really her because she swore on her life she loved me. Even though till this day we still have not met in person. Before I could cut this whole thing off and truly realize how much of a fucking mess and scam it was too late. I have literally lost $20,000 because of this whole thing. $20,000. The only reason I didn't cut it, like I said, is because I believed it was truly her. This gal is an absolute professional and master at fooling people that she is who she says she is and that she's legit. And what we have is real. At this time, I was living in some fantasy land and bubble thinking that this was real. But now I hate myself and I wish I never got into this. I am just beside myself, and this feels way too awful to actually be real. In a million years, I never would have imagined I would be a victim to something like this. It's way too horrible to even describe with words. It's been 2 years, and it's too late now. I should have reported it immediately to my bank. When she took everything out, including savings, but paying off the debt from the fake bounce check made me feel hopeful that she was legit. Oh my God. Long story short, this all happened because I was in a bad state of mind, lonely, desperate, and wanted to just hook up with a girl on Whisper, not thinking outside the box, and just how fake and fishy her and this whole thing was. I'd do anything to get my money back and have this scam artist caught. Anything. I was stupid and just wanted my life and all my money back and forget about this and to pretend it never happened. I'm deeply depressed because of this and just don't know how to cope with all of this. I've literally had thoughts about just, offing myself because of it. It's been way too much to handle. Well, don't do that. Don't ever do that. And I promise you that nothing is ever that bad that that is your answer. Believe me when I tell you, because I happen to be the daughter of that. And you're going to ruin countless lives. It will get better. I promise you. You will be fine. Plus, you're so young. Listen, what are you, 23? At 23 years old, I did not have $23,000. Okay? You know what? I still don't have $23,000. You're going to be fine. I promise you. This is what I mean. Like, imagine, like, this is horrible. The fact that you can do this to another person is disgusting. It is gross. My dad is a victim of a romance scam. Please help. Hi everyone. I've never posted on here before, but I'm extremely desperate and really, really need help. My dad, 61 male, is being catfished by a woman he met on Instagram. For backstory, he and my mom were separated for many years, but stayed living together as not to disrupt mine and my sister's lives. My mom passed away last year from cancer. I'm so sorry. And my dad has just recently begun to disclose to myself, 21 female, and my sister, 19 female, that he has gone on some dates. Fair, completely reasonable. He specifically mentioned this woman he met on Instagram. He says that they have been talking seriously and even changed his phone lock screen from a photo of me and my sister to a photo of her. So it's very upsetting to myself and my sister. I can see why. Recently, he's been telling me more information about this person, saying that she owns a fashion brand called Sportmax and lives in Hawaii. I was a little suspicious because that company is not owned by anyone with the name this person is using. But I was sick to my stomach when my sister sent me her Instagram account. It is clearly a fake account. It has thousands of fake followers, obscure captions and photos of random things, tags random accounts like Amazon in every photo, and has a username that does not match the name listed. As someone who's been on social media my whole life, I immediately recognized that this was a scam account and called my dad to tell him. He has decided to continue talking to this person nonetheless.
You, are you dumb?
Again, he's probably in love with this person or thinks that he's in love with this person. My sister and I have both voiced our concerns to him a number of times and recently sat him down and presented a bunch of evidence to him that I researched. Facebook articles, other stories similar to his, reverse image search photos from the Instagram. I also am very proficient in Photoshop and pointed out specific details about multiple images that showed they were Photoshopped. Still, he refuses to stop talking to this person because he doesn't want to miss out on something that could make him happy. And he likes talking to her. I reiterated to him that he isn't missing out on anything because the person themselves is not real. He also says he wants this person to show him that they're not who they say they are by asking for money, not meeting up when they say they would, or just straight up admitting it, which I said will never ever happen. I don't know what to do anymore. He refuses to make a decision and is continuing to talk to this person no matter how upset my sister and I clearly are by it. He seems to be ignoring everything I'm telling him. I've tried reverse image searching this person's face, but nothing comes up. I feel hopeless and sick just typing this. He has yet to send any money as far as I know. That's good. That's great. But I am so afraid for the day he might do that because he doesn't have very good judgment. My sister and I are both away at college, so we have no way of monitoring him. However, we have informed our other close family members of the situation. So sorry for the long-winded post, but I really have nowhere to turn to for advice. I want to keep my dad and my family safe, and I feel stuck. I'm not sure what more I can do to make him see the truth before it's too late. Please help. Fried Guy says, make a fake account of a rich old man, let her seduce him, and then break your dad's heart by showing him the proof. Unfortunately, that's probably the only way. It's not a bad idea. 5 on 5. Yep, OP. Follow a bunch of celebrity accounts with your fake man account. Then follow anyone who follows you. They will all be scammers. Finally, after about 2 weeks, follow the target scammer. They are almost guaranteed to message you, and you go and off you go. She responds. I've thought about this, but my dad is very sensitive and I want to keep from hurting his feelings as much as possible. He's been partially receptive to what I've told him so far. He just feels like this person is truly real and cares about him. I will try this cheating thing as a last resort. Thank you for your advice. What do you do? Does that seem cruel to do your dad? Maybe, but not really, right? Like, it seems so like cruel and deceptive, but then on the other hand, it's not cruel and it's not deceptive at all. It's probably exactly what you need to do. Sweet pea. And hurting his finances. OP, don't worry about feelings when it comes to scammers, as they are heartless in how they treat their victims. Understatement. Sarah 27. You can't worry about his feelings. My friend's mom was scammed of $37,000 in a romance scam, and she's still talking to him. What? What? My sister has a friend whose mom sent her scammer $200,000 so far. They can't get her to stop. It's heartbreaking. These people are very good, and the longer they do this, the deeper their hold gets. Maybe share with him this post. Update. There's an update. Hi everyone. I posted on here a little over a month ago asking for help with my dad, 61 male, who was the victim of a romance scam. I wanted to update you all and say thank you for all the amazing advice and support. My dad is no longer in contact with this person who was scamming him. Our whole family has blocked this person on social media. He is now happily dating a wonderful woman, and that would not have been possible if I hadn't had the guidance and wisdom from you all to show him the truth. Thank you all a million times over. Edit. People have requested that I say what helped. Honestly, it was all about showing him as much proof as possible and a lot of patience. Being kind and understanding that his feelings were hurt by the situation was really important in my communication with him about this issue and asking for help from you all and my family and friends was the most essential thing, really. Oh my God, I'm so happy for you. I truly, truly am so happy for you. And I fingers crossed, pray that he did not send her a dime. Whew. All right, guys, if you're still here, thank you, thank you, thank you. I love you and I appreciate you so, so, so very much. Please like, subscribe, and comment if you haven't yet and you feel so inclined to, because it really helps me out. I really, really appreciate it. I can really, really use it. And until next time, stay safe out there.